Where do Manchester United go from here? Watch this video. Hello, welcome to Man Utd. I hope you're all well. So this is a reaction to the Europa League final the other night. A really poor final. Finals can be quite tentative anyway sometimes. Neither team wanted to give away too much. But in this case, both teams were really poor. And what did we expect? We kind of thought, oh, maybe it was going to be a great final. Maybe, two bad teams, because they are really bad teams, going up against each other in the Europa League final. Maybe they'll make a game of it. But actually, we weren't surprised at all, really, because they were, as their league form was telling us. Tottenham weren't great at all. And they sat back and they got a really lucky goal. And Man United were coming forward, especially in the first half, but they just had no quality about them at all. And it just made for a really drab affair. I mean, the first half, I was kind of thinking, oh, okay, this is naff. Second half was even worse, I thought. Yeah, of course they had chances. Yes, they made some efforts on goal. But Man United, tactically got it all wrong. And I saw Ange Postecoglou, in all fairness, what he was dealing with in terms of his squad and players available and last-minute injuries and stuff. I thought he actually handled it quite well in terms of tactics. He didn't give away too much. So I thought, actually, and it worked out for him, right? Yes, lucky goal, granted, but it worked out for them. So, it pains me to say as a West Ham fan, but, fair play to Tottenham and Ange for getting it. I mean, it does strike me as a bit absurd that Ange keeps on coming out and saying, well, I always win, second year I always win, as if it's, it's a given. It's not that I know, it's not that I think, it's not that I hope, I do win in the second. And you know what, he proves it again and again, doesn't he? He has won in his second year at a football club, and he keeps on winning. So what can you say? But the league doesn't lie for both of these teams. So what's going to happen? Well, Tottenham, for me, now in a much better position going forward, because they've got Champions League football. They can attract better players. They're going to get all the funding that the Champions Leagues bring, or the Champions League fixtures brings as well. So we're talking in the region of about 80, 100 million, possibly, just on being involved in the Champions League, that they're going to get extra revenue from. That's going to help with their PSR. That's going to help with everything, right? It's going to help with attracting players. It's going to help with paying the transfer fees, everything. So Tottenham now in a really great position. Manchester United, regardless of the size of Manchester United, are a basket case of a club. And they've just been hit with a massive financial blow, let alone the state of the squad, let alone the state of the play, let alone if this manager's going to stay or not. It's just not good for Man United. And so, Man United and Tottenham, especially Man United, and look, as a West Ham fan, I can't really talk too much because we're in a similar kind of league position, right? But Manchester United are a bottom three side right now in terms of their league form. Now, some have argued, so, well, both of these teams, they've kind of thrown away the league the last few weeks, last couple of months, because all they wanted to do is concentrate on the Europa League. And, fair play to both teams. They got to the final, and, well, egg on the face of Man United because they've lost, and, all props to Tottenham because they've actually won, right? But in terms of league form, and you could throw West Ham into this mix as well. It's only by the grace of those other three teams that actually got relegated. Otherwise, Man United, Spurs, and West Ham would be in the bottom three. They are bottom three formers, especially Man United. They have got the worst league in the last 2 months, worst form in the last 2 months, I believe, of all the teams in the league. So we kind of didn't really expect much. There was lots of prodding and chest thumping beforehand, saying, "Yeah, Man United are going to do it, so they're going to win. They're going to win." And I've had comments in videos that I've made in the past about the state of Man United. You get comments like, and there's lots of other comments, but you get comments like, "Yeah, we might be in poor form, but we still win. You still win cups. You still win trophies." No, you don't, do you? That's egg on your face, isn't it? Because if you're so deluded to think that you're in such a bad place as a club, and you think, oh yeah, but we can still win, regardless of what Tottenham have done, they're in a bad place as well. Okay, my team is no better, just for the record. because the league doesn't lie. The kind of football we've been playing all season is terrible, and this kind of manifested itself in the Europa League final. Two crap teams going at it against each other, and neither with any real quality, with any real conviction, with any real tactical plan to take it to the other team and win convincingly. And that's the sad indictment of this whole affair, of this whole final. What does this mean going forward? Tottenham in a much better position. Manchester United in a terrible position. And does the manager stay? Is it his fault? Has he had enough time with not his players to bring them around, change this club around? Well, he's taking them backwards. We all know that. We can all see that. Everybody's saying it, and we can all see it. It's evident to see. He's taken them backwards. Taken worse than Ten Hag. Ten Hag left the club in a sorry state, but at least he was winning. At least he won things. He won a League Cup. He won an FA Cup. So he did win things with a terrible squad of players. The squad of players are terrible. They're not fit to wear the shirt. You know, even some of the players, I think Luke Shaw's coming out after the game and saying, look, we've got to question ourselves whether we're even fit to play for. I found it interesting. He was saying, play for Manchester. You know, that's what you were saying, Manchester. You're just playing for Manchester. You know, I've never heard them talk like that before. Maybe it's just me. I would always say, you know, you're playing for Manchester United or you're playing for Man United. You know, but playing for Manchester, what, you owning the whole of Manchester? I think the other half of Manchester would disagree. But anyway, I mean, that's just a side point. But listen, I mean, Man United are in a terrible situation right now. Financially, in terms of the players they got, in terms of the coaching structure, management structure they got, in terms of the whole backroom of what's going on at the club, in terms of Ineos, Sir John Ratcliffe, and also, you know, the ownership as well, which, you know, most would agree that this is not how you run a football club, let alone a massive football club. And that's the problem with Manchester United. They are a basket case. They're a circus behind the scenes, and of course we know they're a circus on the pitch as well. Massive changes need to be made here. Massive changes need to be made with little expectation. And what I mean by that is that you cannot just have a sweep out of everything in this club and bring in all new players, bring in all new manager now, and expect some dramatic changes. It doesn't work like that. It's almost like you have to go to day one, and pretty much this is where Man United are, for them at least. They are right at rock bottom, and they have to start a massive rebuilding here. And it doesn't start with Manchester United going out into the transfer leagues, or all the leagues all over the world, and looking into the transfer market and saying, oh, we're going to buy all these, you know, high profile players. That's what they've been trying to do for the last 15 years, and it's completely backfired on them. And because it's Manchester United, all the other clubs are going to add 20, 30, 40% on top of a player's price. They know that because Manchester United could pay it. What Manchester United need to do now is completely change the way they're doing things. Go back to the academy, go back to finding players from different parts of the world, and not relying on these big transfer deals, these big players that just haven't worked. And that's a problem. They need to start playing as a team. Now, we could say this for all our teams, for all our clubs, right? Whoever you support, you've got to play as a team. Don't think about the high-profile players. Don't think about spending 100 million on a player. Actually, you've got to think about the team holistically. And how are you going to go forward? Now, Amorim could still be that guy. He could still be that guy who takes Man United forward. But he's got to completely change the way they're playing, and completely change the attitude of the players and the way they're playing as well. And also the humility of these players as well. Because they say, I'm great. No, you're crap. You're terrible. You know, somebody's got to sit them all in a room and say, you are the worst players in the league. You don't deserve to get all this money. In fact, we're going to take this money from you. And if you don't want to have this money taken away from you, I know contractually it's going to be, you know, you can't do that. But, you know, they need to ship them out. You need to get people who are hungry, or players who are hungry, who want to do the best for the team and who want to work as a team and not as a group of individuals. Now, Ange Postecoglou, look, lots of Spurs fans, they can say, no, we still want him out because of the league form. But, you know, we had this at West Ham where David Moyes won the Conference League for us. Yes, right? The first trophy we've won since the 1980s. But at the same time, or certainly, the biggest club, the same time, we think, well, we've got to give him a go. We've got, you can't just sack him, and let him go, because we just want, that just doesn't seem quite right. It's the same here with Ange. You've just won something. Surely you got to see how you can build. And the great advantage now, they've won something. They've got a winner's mentality. They know how they've won. They know how to win. They know what winning feels like. But they've also got now the funds to go into the transfer market and build on for Champions League next year. This is a great opportunity for Ange Postecoglou to actually to come good. And also, we don't know if all of a sudden Tottenham next season don't have many injuries at all. They start the season with a fully fit squad. They come in buzzing. They have a great the pre-season, and all of a sudden you think, wow, Tottenham, they're a force to be reckoned with next season. You just don't know. So to make a decision right now on Ange Postecoglou, in terms of, I think, is a bit short-sighted. They need to look into the next season. Now, of course, 10, 15 games into the season, if it's looking crap, obviously then you've got to make your decision then. But right now, I think you've got to stick with Ange. Definitely got to stick with Ange. Amorim, I'm not so sure there's a strong case to keep him, in all fairness, because regardless if these are not his players, he's actually been working with them for a long time. And you got to think, actually, throughout the season, you think, okay, they could have started off poorly. They could have started off indifferently. But as the season's got on, he's been working with them the whole time, and they've got worse. The team has got worse. The performances have got worse. And that is a management and coaching problem. That is not necessarily because they're not his players. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, keep on watching the videos. And, well, if you go to the website, revelatoralf.com/books, you see all the books, sporting books that I sell as well. Go to Amazon as well and see them directly there. Right, with that, I'm going to have a cup of coffee. Catch you again. Bye now.